The latest episode of WWE Raw will take place in Miami, Florida on Monday. 1. The build begins to the B-Team vs. the Deleters of Worlds vs. The Revival. Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, the Deleters of the World, lost the Raw Tag Team Championships against the B-Team at Extreme Rules and then failed to reclaim them in last week's rematch on Raw, which should mean that they are no longer in the running to win the tag titles. However, WWE rules are there to be changed when storylines see fit, so it wouldn't be at all surprising to see Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy remain in the title picture following their post-match attack on Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas last week. And when you consider that the Revival have been watching this rivalry on monitors backstage from the very beginning, something tells us that this could be heading towards a triple threat. 2. Finn Balor wins, feud ends. It seemed like WWE was starting to move away from the Finn Balor vs. Baron Corbin rivalry when the Irishman featured in the Universal Championship #1 Contender Tournament after Extreme Rules and then joined forces with Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. However, Corbin poked more fun at Balor's shortcomings last week, leading to another match between the two being announced for this week's Raw. With so many rematches already set for SummerSlam, fans would be disappointed if this feud continued all the way until the biggest party of the summer, so let's go with another Balor win over the Constable. 3. Alexa Bliss takes the advantage ahead of SummerSlam. Ronda Rousey breached her 30-day suspension from Raw by appearing on the show 2 weeks ago to attack Alexa Bliss. As a result, she was granted a Raw Women's Championship match against Little Miss Bliss at SummerSlam by General Manager Kurt Angle, only to be suspended for a further week by Constable Baron Corbin. The baddest woman on the planet featured in one of her best WWE segments yet when she powerbombed Bliss through a table in June. This time, however, let's predict that Bliss will gain some credibility before the PPV by getting the upper hand on Ronda, courtesy of some help from Mickie James, with a sneak attack. 4. Mojo Rawley picks up a surprise win over Bobby Roode. Since the end of May, Mojo Rawley has won all 6 of his televised matches vs. No Way Jose 3 times, Tyler Breeze 2 times, and Chad Gable 1 time, so it's no wonder he demanded better opponents during a post-match interview last week. Presumably, that means he will take on another babyface this week who has more WWE credentials than any of the guys he previously defeated. If that happens, the most obvious opponent would have to be Bobby Roode. The Glorious One was mocked backstage by Mojo following his defeat against Dolph Ziggler on Raw 2 weeks ago, so it would certainly make sense for him to take issue with the former Hype Bro on this week's episode. 5. Seth Rollins wins over Drew McIntyre. The latest chapter in the Seth Rollins vs. Dolph Ziggler story sees the Kingslayer take on Dolph's sidekick Drew McIntyre in one of this week's featured matches on Raw. Rollins teamed with Finn Balor to defeat Dolph and Drew in a tag match last week. However, as far as singles competition is concerned, the Shield member has been defeated a combined 3 times by his rivals, Dolph X2 and Drew X1, in the last 6 weeks, while his only one-on-one victory came via DQ against Ziggler in June. 6. Bobby Lashley vs. Roman Reigns 3 takes place. Bobby Lashley defeated Roman Reigns fair and square at Extreme Rules, but he was unable to win their #1 Contender rematch on Raw last week, meaning he is now officially out of the Universal Championship picture. It is speculated that the Dominator might complain about Reigns' entry into the match at SummerSlam. After all, they're tied 1-1 against each other, and demand that there be a deciding match this week to truly determine who deserves to face Brock Lesnar next. 7. Brock Lesnar fakes a no-show and appears at the end. Brock Lesnar's whole WWE shtick right now is that he shows up where he wants when he wants and he doesn't take orders from anybody else in the company. With that in mind, it'd be typical of Lesnar to send Paul Heyman out earlier in the show to promote his return, only for the Universal Champion's advocate to reveal that his client won't be appearing in Miami. Then, if our bold prediction about Bobby Lashley vs. Roman Reigns 3 comes to fruition, Lesnar can finally appear at the end of the match to confront his SummerSlam opponents. What do you think? Please give your thoughts in comments section and don't forget subscribe my channel.